These Araucaria in southern Chile are among the last of their kind. Deforestation and climate change have caused numbers to dwindle. They're among the oldest tree species on Earth, around in the time of the dinosaurs. They still grow on the land of the indigenous Mapuche Pehuenche people. Isaac Uenchunao and his family collect the pine nuts. To harvest them, they spend days roaming the mountain forests. His aunt says it's always been this way.
We're Pehuenches. And so we live where we live. We're surrounded by Araucaria trees and mountains.
Pehuenche means people of the Araucaria. They once lived in seclusion in southern Chile's dense mountainous forests. But as the great forests disappeared, so did the Pehuenche's traditions. The Uenchunaos are among the few families still living as close to nature as their ancestors. During the last harvest season, Juanita Uenchunao collected 400 kilos of pine nuts. The pine nuts are eaten boiled or roasted, or made into flour, puree, or coffee. Most of the harvest is sold.
It can be a very hard way to make a living. We don't get enough money for our products. The price of pine nuts never goes up. This year the price per kilo should be 5,000 pesos because there were so few of them. But no one wants to pay that. At the same time, the prices of other foods go up, and you have to pay the asking price in the market.
In order to tend to their cattle over the summer, the Uenchunaos built a small hut up in the mountains. They own about 500 hectares at 1,600 meters above sea level, at the foot of Mount Cutrao Cutrao. It's also where the Araucaria trees they harvest grow. The small livestock farm is a second source of income. Isaac Uenchunao also hopes to make money from tourism. He recently started offering hiking and skiing tours so visitors can witness the volcanic landscapes and untouched forests of his homeland.
I had the idea to strengthen the community through tourism, and especially to allow young people to make use of tourism, so that no one can come from outside and make rules about how tourism should operate here. That goes hand in hand with protecting our culture and our way of life.
Isaac Uenchunao sees it as a great opportunity to create jobs and new income at a time when many young men and women are still moving away. Life in the mountains is hard, and there are few educational opportunities. Of the region's approximately 1.7 million indigenous people, more than a third already live in the capital, Santiago. That exodus means that indigenous culture is in danger of dying out. Isaac Uenchunao hopes that tourism might help reverse the trend.
We're the ones who take care of nature. Latin America's indigenous people are the guardians and protectors of most of our natural resources. There are people from outside who come to destroy them.
Many Pehuenches are mistrustful of outsiders. One reason is that after Chile's independence, the military marched into their territory and expelled them. They were left with only a tiny sliver of their original land. Instead, it was mainly European settlers who were granted land. To this day, many forestry and agricultural companies are located on Pehuenche land. This causes conflicts. The indigenous people have long been demanding their original territory back and an end to the environmental degradation.
There's still this rejection of outsiders. We're an invaded people who were once massacred. And that was not all too many years ago. My grandfather still remembered it. It's still very much alive. That's what makes it so difficult for the Mapuche to allow tourism.
But Isaac Uenchunao doesn't want too much tourism either. It should provide the indigenous community an income, but not replace their previous way of life.
It wouldn't be good for conserving the ecosystem or our culture. If a community just lives from tourism, then its culture becomes folklore. Anyway, there is other work, like collecting pine nuts and working the land and the summer pastures.
He's already convinced his aunt, Juanita Uenchunao. She plans to make extra money by running a small inn.
People could come for lunch. I could serve them sopapilla or mate.
But right now, it's winter, so she and her husband live in their house in the valley. It has running water and electricity. They also keep their animals here until spring. They mostly survive on supplies and savings left over from summer. The couple's 4 children have all moved away to the cities. One of their sons lives more than a day's bus ride away. His mother hasn't seen him in over a year.
As a mother, it doesn't make you happy. You don't know how they are, what they need, whether they have enough to eat. Sometimes it makes me very sad.
She hopes that tourism may bring some of her children back to the village for good. But for that to happen, a lot would still have to change here in the Pehuenche's mountainous home.